Hi, all my beautiful people. I wanted to get this out on Friday. That is the plan, is to have these come out on Fridays. But it's just been a really busy week and I've had a lot of things going on, as we all do. And I'm actually supposed to be writing, I'm participating in a spoken word event on Tuesday. And I'm supposed to be writing something for that and performing it. And I've really been struggling with what to write. I've written things, but nothing that I'm like, yes, this is it. And the theme is just a theme that I'm not like focused on right now. And so just the way my process is, if you like write around this theme, write this way, that can sometimes be tricky for me. But anyway, here we are. And it is for anybody who celebrates Mother's Day weekend. For me, Mother's Day isn't just human babies. So anybody, I forgot I have my May Day crown on. Yes, so for anybody who celebrates, whether you are a parent or you're celebrating your parent, happy Mother's Day. And if you don't celebrate, that is totally fine. And I also want to acknowledge those who have chosen not to have children for whatever reason. That is a very valid way to live your life. And as someone with 2 children, I can tell you there are times where I wonder about that choice. So I just want to acknowledge all those out there who have made the choice, or maybe in some situations the choice has been made for you, that you don't have children, and that is perfectly okay. Anyway, let's get to our journal and tarot today. So I am Bridget, your disabled Barbie. We are totally embracing the Barbie identity for all people, all genders, all body types, all expressions, the whole shebang. We are all beautiful and we are perfect the way we are. And if you can't love us now, you can never love us. So everybody, welcome. I am a Caucasian woman with dark brown hair. I love the weather myself, but it was warm today and we were outside for a Beltane gathering, or some may know it as May Day. So my hair is just whatever. Tomorrow's a hair wash day anyway. But I'm wearing a pink scoop neck t-shirt. I am a Caucasian woman, as I said, and then I'm wearing this. I'm the May Day queen. It's a little. What am I trying to say? Floral crown, has little tiny paper buds, and then I'm not sure what colors these are, but a little streamer off the back. So wearing that. We're gonna wear this to celebrate Beltane, for those who celebrate such things. Anywho, so welcome. Today we are going to talk about letting it go. Let it go, right? Oh, by the way, I also want to say that anybody who's watching this, if there is a better, more accessible way I can create these videos, let me know. As I said in my first video, I am blind and I am doing all the editing, all that stuff on my own. It is my 12-year-old who kind of helps me get things initially set up. But I'm the one that takes over, and I'm still working on actually embedding accessibility into these videos. That's why right now I'm just sort of describing things. But anyway, if there's something that you would really like to see happen with these, let me know. So, what I want to read this week is from Brevity. And if anybody is not familiar with Brevity, it is a online journal of flash essay. Flash is pieces that are 1,000 words or less. And this is nonfiction. So these are about people's, actual experiences or, nonfiction topics, but written in a what we call narrative nonfiction or creative nonfiction way. So, I mean, in a nutshell, it reads like fiction, but it's nonfiction. And the piece I read last week was also a flash essay. But Brevity is a really great online journal. Check it out. Definitely give them a shout out. I've had a piece in Brevity before, so and I just love reading their stuff. And the piece I'm going to read today is really good. It is called Where the Komodo Dragons Live by Karen, and forgive me, I'm going to butcher this last name. Karen, K-A-O. I'm not sure if that's cow, but it's K-A-O. And this was published in January of this year. Okay, I'm going to do my best with this. There are a few words, and forgive me for my ignorance of not quite knowing the pronunciation, so we will do what we can here. You stand on the deck of a 44-meter wooden, and I'm just going to spell this word, P-I-N-I-S-I, Pinisi. You stand on the deck of a 44-meter wooden pinisi, rigged boat, somewhere in the Flores Sea, close to where the Komodo dragons live. A brochure claims that this boat, the Onback Puted, was made by hand, in accordance with traditions, the South Sulisi people. You will spend the next 5 days on board. Salt sparkles on your skin. Oh, my goodness, okay. Well, this would be great. My technology would work out. And again, for those who did not watch the first video from last week, because I am blind, I am listening to a screen reader, which is basically a program that reads things out on the screen to me. And as it's reading it, I'm repeating it back. So that is the reason for pauses. Salt sparkles on your skin. A thin line of sweat traces down the line of your backbone into your butt crack. You are menstruating heavily. The sea swells under your feet. A crew member steadies you, his hard black eyes searching yours. You are one of 6 men and 3 women. Doctors, management consultants, captains of industry. Until recently, you were each highly successful at home and at work. Nowadays, you fight with spouses, children, parents, colleagues. The man who mops the floors at night. You have come to this masterclass on groundbreaking leadership. You are asked to fine-comb your memory and find the moment, likely between the ages of 10 and 18, when you discovered the survival skill that led to your success. This is a skill you must now unlearn. You meet in the morning when the crew unfurls the blue sails. You meet in the afternoon when heat drops to the deck. Each time, you must reveal your deepest fears, your most tender hopes. The soft hollow at the base of your throat. An Indonesian bahasa, Onback Puted, means white wave. And again, I apologize for ignorance in the pronunciation of things. There are no waves on the Flores Sea. It is a mirror of a birdless sky. the line that leads to a flat horizon. There is no escape. Some of your boatmates swim in the tepid broth. You do not. You've been going through tampons every 2 hours. You don't know whether you've brought enough or where you could buy more. In the middle of the Florida Sea. By day, the Indonesian boat crew gives you the side eye, trying to decide whether you are one of them. By light, your boatmates sing sea shanties by the saloon, while fear holds you down by both shoulders to press you into your soap-sweat mattress. How did it come to this? You were never one to sit in circles singing Kumbaya, glued to a wooden bench, listening to your boatmates fumble their way through the story of their lives. One man speaks of his alcoholic father, climbing the attic stairs in search of someone to wall up. What you hear is the rage against a mother who hid in her bed, the parent who never protected him. Another man speaks of the shipbuilding company, the infighting, and the jostling, and the weight of a tradition. 150 years old, when all he really longs for is to go to sea. You imagine these speakers as they once were. You sketch them in your journal with knobby elbows, blunt cut bangs, a smile that still reaches the eyes. Soon it will be your turn to tell your story. What will you say? Don't blame your husband for the affair he had. The original sin belongs to the both of you. Don't congratulate yourself for having avoided divorce. The hard work of marriage will never be done. Don't blame your job or the stuffed shirts you work with or the forced hours you are. Let's restart that. Don't blame your job or the stuffed shirts you work with or the hours you are forced to keep in 6-minute billable increments. Don't think that quitting your job will change your life. Don't look for the island where the Komodo dragons live. You are no apex predator, so stop baring your teeth. Listen for once to your heart. There are no distractions on the Ombak Putit, and I'm going to spell that. O-M-B-A-K-P-U-T-I-H, Putin. The boat has dropped anchor. The wind is still. That sound you hear is a pearl of sweat falling onto the waxed teak floor of the deck. That taste in your mouth might be hope. You have always believed yourself to be unlovable. Ooh. Say it out loud. Tell your boatmates that the Komodo dragon takes 15 to 20 minutes to swallow a goat, whereas fear has stopped your throat most of your life. Tell them that you might be now ready to write. And as you do, observe the fistful of light break through the clouds. Feel it expand your body until you become the wind that fills the slack sails. Now, let this boat fly. And I will post that in the comments, so you can read it at your leisure, and not have me stumbling through the piece. So I think to continue on this thread of letting old thought patterns and letting go of this way of living in the world that is, I don't want to say traditional, but the expected way, you know, what we have defined productivity as, what we have defined acceptable as. I think this piece is so beautiful and really addresses that living your life and really going against your heart and your soul and what that does to your heart and soul. I think letting go and finding alignment within ourselves, we tap into our unlimited potential, and we can do that through doing inner healing. I talked a lot last time about my journey through this and the inner work I have been doing. And I mean, it's a lifelong, thing. We're never just always there. We're always learning. We're always growing. We always have more things to digest. And as time goes on and as we grow as humans, I mean, I'm not the same person I was in my 20s. I'm not the same person I was in my 30s. I'm not even the same person I was a year ago. I'm constantly growing and learning. But in the last few months, having been on a very long spiritual journey of just, and I'm not knocking this, but I'm not I went to Joshua Tree and did some magical things, and that's great, and that could definitely be a part of it, but just learning and researching and really discovering what spirituality means to me, and then confronting those parts of me that hold me back. And one big one is body image and how I look, basically. That is a big one that I've struggled with my whole life, and I've had to really come to terms with. And facing these, like I said last time, a lot of times we call them our demons. I like to say our shadow self, because I don't think it's something that's necessarily bad per se, but what can we learn from it? And I definitely have learned a lot, but I've realized even within the last few weeks that I've had these radical mindset, shifts, and it's quite astonishing to me, the things that I've been letting go. And I just think that this piece so reflects why that is important. One thing I want to say, okay, so I'm going to nerd out about craft, and I know that sounds so pretentious, but there's just some very specific things in this piece I do want to point out. The skill you learned between 10 and 18, you now have to unlearn. I mean, that age is such a pivotal age for everybody. And that, when you think about it, when you just really sit and think about it, that is the age where we change and we start to adopt a lot of these ideas that we move into our adulthood with. As a child, a young child, I was so carefree. I believed in magic, I was, I was a kid that climbed trees and I just found the beauty everywhere around me. And I was just so free-spirited, and I knew things internally about myself that I didn't really have language for, but I knew things. And then I get into my tweens, as my 12-year-old would say, and then my teens. And I start adopting all these, societal ideas about a lot of things, but particularly my body and what I was taught was acceptable, and particularly as a person who identifies as a female and is very female presenting, what that should look, sound, act like. I can't tell you how many times growing up I was told, you're being too loud. Well, okay, and now I'm like, yeah, I'm loud, deal with it. That's not ladylike. I've been told that a million times in my life. Maybe I'm not ladylike then. But it's just now coming to a point where we're redefining what these things really mean. And I think we're living in a climate right now where we really want to put very rigid definitions on a lot of these identities, and that's really helping no one. It's not helping us move forward. But you just think about that age, and that is such a pivotal age where we really are adopting these ideas, and a lot of them are not great, and kind of lead us down. They lead us astray and lead us away from the path that we felt as a young child. Soon it will be time to tell your story. What will you say? I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that line is so powerful. What will we say? I'm at a point now, I am not an open book person. I never have been. Even though I am a journalist and I write creative nonfiction, I am very intentional in what I say and in how I say it and how much of it I say. If you were to come to me in face, it would be very uncomfortable and very challenging for me to talk about even something that I wrote about, that lives out there in the world, but to have a actual conversation about it. And that is something I am relearning and breaking away from that discomfort. And anybody who watched the first video will see I just really shared a lot, which is not typical for me. But I'm at a point now where I do feel that if any part of my story can help others and be a guide on your path, I've lived in this body for 44 years for a reason. I've had experiences for a reason, both positive and negative. And they're all there to not only form who I am, but as a tool to potentially help others. And, but even to tell our story, we really have to acknowledge our story and get to that place where we are adjusting and adapting and reprogramming and can kind of come full circle and see the other side of things. Because when we're still in the middle of something, we really can't help anybody. Certainly not ourselves, but definitely not other people. And I mean, this can apply to anybody, children, significant others, family, friends, strangers. It's hard to be in certain roles and helping people when we need to be helping ourselves. Oh God, this line, you have always believed yourself unlovable. If there's nothing else that people can take away from this, I want everybody to know that you are lovable. You are lovable the way you are, the way you look, the body you're in, the gender you are. None of those things matter. Our exterior being, I say it doesn't matter, but at the same time, I want to acknowledge that there are obviously certain identities that the way in which the world operates right now do matter, because oppression is a very legitimate thing, and the way we are perceived, when out in the world, to most people, sometimes we can find ourselves in an unsafe space. So I don't want to sit here and act as though like, oh, if you have a spiritual epiphany, those things don't matter, because our reality does matter. We might be able to find more balance within ourselves, but for those who live in a body that, and again, particularly in the climate we find ourselves in right now, I do want to acknowledge that and see that I am sending all my strength and love and positivity, because none of these things should matter. Our skin tone, our gender, our sexual orientation, how we present, how we dress, none of that should matter. What should matter is what's truly deep inside. And this is something that we're taught as children, and we hear people repeat over and over through life, and yet that's not really how the world operates. Because if it was, nobody would feel unsafe right now for being authentically who they are and living in the body they live in. If it was truly about connecting to a person, to their heart and their soul, no one would feel unsafe. And that's just unfortunately the world we're living in. But we can create our own world, and we can create our own community. And, that is something that I want to do here, is be a safe space and be a place where we can engage in these discussions and kind of through literature, find a connection to our spirituality as individuals, but also as a community. But having said all that, I do want everyone to know that you are lovable. And that is, that was a really hard lesson for me to learn. Something that really, until very recently, I didn't think was possible to be loved. I don't want to get into too much, but just experience I've had throughout my life, I felt were really just signs that I was not a person who was going to have love and who was going to be loved. And a large part of that, not the only part, but a large part of that was based around these ideas about body. And if I didn't look a certain way, if I wasn't a certain dress size and all these things, that who would possibly want to love me, both platonic and romantically. And that's a really hard lesson to learn. That's a hard thought pattern to let go of. But once again, I just feel like my throat chakra is starting to get weird, and sometimes that might mean somebody doesn't want this message out there, and that just makes me even more, you tell me I can't do something and I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. But you need to know that you are capable of love and you are lovable. And if I can break that thought pattern, certainly anybody else can. Because I know sitting here right now, I'm saying these things and I'm telling about my journey. Like I said, this is very recent that this particular thought process has been broken. And I'm still like reveling at the fact that it is broken, that I am walking through the world with this new confidence, and that it doesn't matter what my size is, it doesn't matter what my body is. Such a side note, such a TMI thing, but I was like, I'm gonna wear a bikini again this summer. I don't care what size I am. I'm wearing a bikini. But just to have that level of confidence in myself again, I don't even know that I really ever had that confidence. I mean, when I was a size 2, and I did wear a bikini, I didn't have a lot of confidence. So I felt there was always something to find within me that was quote unquote wrong. So I just want everybody to know that if I can break that thought pattern, so can you. And again, it is turning inside. It's hard because so many of us push these things deep down, but it is pulling them up like, you know, dirty laundry or something, and just looking at it and truly cleansing it. But it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It's not easy. It's very challenging. Like I said in the first video, I don't cry a lot. I feel sad, I feel emotions. I don't know what it is. I don't often actually cry tears. And through this process, I have wept. I have just sat and openly wept, and just tears pouring down as I'm sobbing. You know, as I'm confronting these negative energies and these thought patterns, and doing what I can to release them. And, you know, our process is going to be different, and how we come to this. I think therapy is a great thing. I think that if you have that available to you, definitely see a therapist. It might be some trial and error because you have to have a chemistry with your therapist and any medical professional. So if you go to a therapist and you just don't click, go to a new one. And I know that in and of itself can be exhausting, but I definitely support having a therapist and going to therapy. I have done that most of my life, but I also think there's other things that we can be doing to really truly break those patterns, and you know, truly have a new perspective about ourselves. But I just need everybody to know that you are lovable. And if anybody tells you otherwise, that's their problem, not yours. They're the ones then that need to do some work. If somebody thinks you are not lovable because of whatever reason, they're the one, they need to do some work. They are not dealing with their own issues. They are not, certainly not coming to you with love themselves. You know, they are somebody who truly is their problem. They need to do internal work. And that's not for you to take on. That is for them to come to that point and realize they need to do that. But you don't need them in your life then. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But you are lovable. Yeah, you know, we really do need to get out of our own way sometimes, and this sometimes can be a challenging thing, and I will explain it, but we need to kind of stop blaming outside influences for our thought behaviors. And what I mean by this is, we legitimately have things that happen to us from childhood up through adulthood that do impact us, because listen, I know I present a very certain way in the world based on how I look, but I've gone through a lot of difficulty in my life. You know, a lot of my ideas around finances has been largely impacted by things that I've had to experience. You know, there was a point in my growing up where we didn't always know if we were going to have food for dinner. You know, if there was going to be enough. You had a parent who was put on the inside. He went to prison. You know, I've experienced, you know, abuse of different kinds, and I don't want to make this about me, but I just, the point is that those are very real things. Those are very real things that are going to impact us. And impact our ability to feel safe and stable. But when we can come to a place where we are sort of breaking some of those thought patterns and learning to have a more balanced perspective on something, you know, we can find the solace, we can find the comfort, and you know, we can just see things in a new way, and we can have these perspective changes. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But we can, oh God, how am I trying to say this? There's always going to be something on the outside. There's always going to be something on the external that is going to impact us, particularly in our reality, in our 3D. But if we can learn to ground ourselves and find ourselves, a more spiritual aspect, in however that looks for you, how you identify with spirituality, we can truly come to a place where we can confront those thoughts of fear, of insecurity, of instability, and not be so consumed by them. We definitely need to address them. And if we have big feelings, we need to feel those things. Again, I said this last time, if you're looking for toxic positivity, this is not the place. We need to feel our feelings and process them. And I mean, that's what I'm talking about here, is processing our feelings. But coming to a place where we truly think differently. And I was thinking, when it comes to the financial part, that is something that is a very heavy thought pattern that has been very present in my life. And it's like even when I know I have money, you go to buy something, and as you're like tapping the card, I know, like, is it gonna go through? And it's like, I know I have money, but I still have that instinct. And that's a really hard one to break. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, especially nowadays. But that is a very valid thing. And again, the climate we're living in, these are very real concerns, and we need to acknowledge that. We need to process it. But I think if we can look at those fears and those things and not be consumed by them, it's just going to help us in the long run. Just in terms of creating an emotional stability. I think that's what I want to say. We're talking about creating an emotional stability, and regardless of what's surrounding us. And obviously it's kind of a vicious cycle, and sometimes what's surrounding us is what creates, the emotional instability. But when we just really start to work on breaking these thought patterns, it's not like, oh, magically I have money and I have security and stability, but you just start to feel less consumed by those things, and perhaps a little bit more energized to confront those things and do what you need to do to take care of those things, or to find your security and stability. And again, none of this is easy, but it's once you do the work and you continue to do the work, I think it does get a little easier. But but again, I really want to make sure people understand that we do need to acknowledge that these are real things. These are real issues that people face, that a lot of us face, things that we are concerned about. If you have a family, that's definitely something to be concerned about. And again, I'm a fucking white woman born and raised in America. I am not somebody who steps out the door right now and literally, has to wonder if they're coming back home that night. These are real things, and we need to acknowledge that, because a part of the healing journey is, yes, we need to internally heal ourselves. And as I said at the top, we cannot help other people until we have helped ourselves. Sometimes it's okay to be selfish, to take time on yourself, to work on ourselves. Because then we can go out into the world and we can help people and we can face these issues. And particularly for those of us who do have a lot of privilege, we can stand up, use our voice, have the confidence, have the clarity, have the emotional stability to do it, and not then also be dealing with our own, turmoil. And these things are going to come in ebbs and flows, and it's not always going to be perfect, and it's okay. Again, it's okay. We're not going to live our life always happy, never sad, never angry, never frustrated. But again, it's that coming back into balance quicker. Feeling the things, processing them, and then just finding that balance. But it's hard. And I think for those of us who have for a long time had to be both dealing with divine masculine and feminine energy, and again, these aren't really gendered things. As I said last time, I'm a very feminine presenting person, but I identify more with masculine energy. But for those of us who've always kind of had to have that masculine energy of the, just get things done and not really be creative, not be emotional. We just got to get things done. We got to take charge. It's finding that balance of the emotional stability, of creating a space where we feel safe, of being creative in whatever way that means to you. I don't think you have to be an artist to have creative energy. There's a lot of different ways to be creative. And, that's what our feminine energy does. And all human beings have both divine and masculine and divine feminine energy. So, even though we're saying masculine, feminine, it's not a gendered thing. We all have that in us, just some of us are not balanced with it. And that's another thing I've been having to do is balance that, those energies within me. But I think once we do find that balance, or some semblance of a balance, we just, we for anybody, if we come back to one a lot quicker. We start over a lot, or not start over necessarily, but just we find that balance, and we can get to a point where we can help people. It's really hard to take on other people's emotions when you're feeling very emotionally unstable yourself. And so when we can sort of deal with these things and confront these things and find more balance around them, I think that's when we can come to a place where then we are able to step out and help others. I connect everything with music so much. And I just, by the way, so I want to read these lyrics to you from Defying Gravity from Wicked. And I'm just now realizing at the top, I was like, let it go. I don't know why all my songs right now are Idina Menzel songs, but I want to read these lyrics. I don't know, maybe I'll sing too, because I think these are very powerful and just really address what I'm trying to get at here. Okay. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I am through by playing by the rules of someone else's game. Ugh, yes. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It is time to trust my instincts, close my eyes and leap. Yeah. I just keep hearing that line, something has changed inside me. Something is not the same. I keep having that in my head all the time. Because I think you get to this point and you're like, wow, shit, something has changed. I'm just thinking differently. I'm feeling differently. And I just love the, trust your instincts. I think for a long time, I did not trust my instincts, and I was just living in this, I don't know, a lot of people right now are living in this real angry bubble, and it's not a good place. What that does to your soul, to your mind, to your heart, to your body, to your physical body, it's not great. And I kind of was living in this bubble of anger for a long time, and I lost the ability to trust my instincts. And that is something else that I'm regaining as well. But when you come into alignment with yourself, when you can balance these energies within yourself, when you can do this inner work and confront those emotions and really work on changing and breaking thought patterns, you're going to find that your instincts are usually spot on and you can trust them. Later in the song, we get, I'm through accepting limits. Yes, we read that. Because someone says they're so. Some things I cannot change. But until I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid of losing love. I guess I've lost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. Well, if that's love, it comes at much too high a cost. Oh my God. This is going to be with me again. I love that. We're done accepting the limits. We're done being told we can and cannot do. You have a dream, don't let people tell you can't do it. People say you're not lovable. So what? That's not love then. That's not love. Because everybody is lovable. And if somebody's saying that, again, they're the ones that need to do work. They need to work on themselves, not you. I don't know. I've been really connecting with those lyrics. And as I said last time, I have a musical theater background. So a lot of the songs I'm connecting with right now are Broadway. But I don't know. There's been a change inside me. I don't know. I think these lyrics are really great. And I've been connecting with them, and I felt they really connect to what we are talking about here. Okay, one moment. Just want to look something. So I want to get to our tarot and journaling prompt. As I said last time, these are not readings. These are not collective readings. I'm just kind of focusing and drawing a card, just to see what perspective, if any, it can give us. Now, I was gonna do a different deck, but an early Mother's Day present was this. Oh shit, I don't know if I'm holding it up right or not. So we'll hold it this way, and I'll hold it this way. But it is the Disney Villains tarot deck. So kind of cute and fun. Oh, stupid. Earbuds, guys, earbuds don't this is weird. I have such tiny ear openings. Like earbuds, these are like this particular set, like these are the smallest ones, and they just fall out. My AirPods don't stay in. Like the last time I took a flight, one fell out and I thought I had lost it forever. Thank God someone found it. But anyway, so the tarot card I drew, and I think I may have just turned this upside down. The 10 of Cups, and on this card in this deck, it's the Jolly Rogers ship from Peter Pan. This is a wonderful card to draw, the 10 of Cups. I mean, again, I'm not a tarot expert. This is not a reading. This is just kind of something to give us something to think about for the week. But in tarot, the 10 of Cups, it kind of can represent finding happiness, finding, being grounded in and finding our roots and finding a sense of belonging. And I think that really resonates with what this whole topic has been tonight. Finding a sense of belonging. I think a lot of us struggle with that. And even in a crowded space, even within our family, we can often feel isolated or alone, or like people just don't get us. And so I think one, it's important to find people you do connect with, but also I think sometimes doing this work of healing our inner self, can help us come to that place. Because I don't remember who said it, but somebody recently I heard say that if you love yourself, like if you truly love yourself, like deep down, you can say, I love myself. And then in your head, you don't hear the but. If you truly love yourself, then anywhere you go, someone loves you. And look, I'm not going to get into anything right now, but like, I get it. Like, we want to have companionship. I get that. But to have a sense of belonging, I mean, and honestly, to whether it's platonic, romantic, familial, in order to be in those types of relationships and have a sense of belonging, we have to feel that within ourselves. Truly we do. And again, that is not selfish. And I think because it is Mother's Day weekend, I think that's particularly hard for those of us who identify as a mother. I know this has been my experience, but we're just sort of expected to do it all, to take care of it all, you know, and that doing any type of self-care is selfish, and that we shouldn't be doing that. And how dare we take time out for ourselves? But if we're not, how do we care for the people? You know, I can't take care of my kids if I can't take care of myself. Like, that's just a fucked up mindset. That's another one we need to break, you know, the thought pattern on. But we need to be selfish sometimes. And I don't mean that in like the I don't care about people way. I just mean we need to do self-care. And in addition to things like, you know, I got a pedicure today, and, you know, reading a book or watching a show or whatever, but also taking time to dig into our spiritual side. And again, whatever that means to you, however you want to identify with that. But taking that time and really doing work to heal ourselves, and in order then to come back and help others, which if you're a parent, that includes your children. So for the writing prompt, this is a little different. So what I would like everybody to try and do this week, when you have a moment you can be alone, if you only have 5 minutes to do that, that's fine. If you could give maybe 15-20 minutes, that'd be great. So sit in stillness and have, I don't know, meditation music, classical music, anything that you connect with, just as long as it doesn't have lyrics. Really focus and just you can sit or you can lay down, but start doing deep belly breaths. And that's when we do directional breathing. So you are going to breathe in through the nose, and you're literally going to feel the direction of your breath going down your body into your belly, and you want your belly to push out, to like distend. You're gonna breathe in, and I really don't care about counting. I know there's a lot of, you know, breathe in for 8, hold for 4, whatever. I don't care. Do that, don't do that, but just breathe in through the nose. And I do want you to hold it at the top and then let it out. So I just want you to do that over and over slowly. We're not rushing. With each exhale, loosen your body more and more. And this is why sometimes lying down can be good. If you're gonna fall asleep immediately, then maybe don't. Or maybe you need the nap, I don't know. But just you really want to focus that body and just relax, just each breath, just relax more and more. After a few minutes of this, and once you feel really relaxed in the body, I want you to start to visualize. And visualizing can look different for different people. I am blind, but I did not lose my vision until I was older. So I have a visual reference of the world, and when I visualize, I literally see in my head. I still dream by seeing things in my head. So, you know, I still have the ability to do that. If you don't, that is fine. However this works for you, that is fine. You know, if you need to modify this in any way, that's great. By no means take what I'm saying here and think like, well, but that doesn't exactly work for me. That's fine. You know, however it's going to work for you, that's fine. So I want you to sort of visualize this warm glow coming from your heart chakra, your heart space, which is, you know, here in your chest. And just just sometimes I will actually just see an image of me in my head with this, but sometimes I actually picture it within my body as I'm, sitting here. So even if you're sighted, you're going to do this in different ways. But I just want you to focus on a soft, warm light emanating from that heart space. I want you to try to actually feel its warmth. And if you need to sit there a little longer, again, don't rush to this, but just really try and feel this as much as you are seeing it or however you're visualizing. Visualize and feel the warmth extending through your body, through the rest of your chest, down your arms, down your torso, up through your head. Once you kind of have visualize this and you kind of feel that warmth, I want you to start to picture your happy place. And the first thing that pops in your head, I want you to go with that. So it could be a beach. It could be on a snowy mountain in a cabin next to the fire, all cozied up. Excuse me, now that throat chakra's starting to close again. It could be a pond next to tall trees. Anywhere, anything that pops in your mind, let that be your happy place. It could be, anything. If there's something you've seen in a movie, in books, Rivendell. If you know, you know. Just spend time there. Picture what is around you. Take in the details. Do you sense anything? Do you feel anything? Really take time to explore this space and to let everything go. Let the tension go. Let any negative energies go. And just and it might even help you to visualize those negative energies. I don't know. Sometimes I picture them kind of swirling up. They're like dark, like bits of debris swirling up from my body. I don't know why I'm gesturing like that. But, for my blind beauties, I'm kind of like lifting my hands up and then fluttering them. I picture the negative energies just as this dark debris like floating off my body. So if that works for you, there you go. But just think on this, and then once you're done with this meditation, and you don't have to say anything, just picture this happy place and how it makes you feel. Focus on the details around you, and then I want you to journal and just write about this happy place. What were the thoughts you had in this happy space? What were some of the images you saw? Just anything that you noticed while there, how you feel, what you sensed. I want you to just write all these things down. And from this process, do you find that your thoughts start to flow? Is it allowing you to put emotions to the page? Both positive and negative. If you were in the happy space and you're like, I didn't feel the tension, I didn't feel anger, I didn't feel sad, write that down. Because maybe then we can start exploring why we feel those things and why whatever it is that made those feelings come up, why that happens when those things happen. But just anything, write that down. And if these are starting to get into a, as we call a flow in the writing community, is that allowing you to just start writing more? Just think on why you either are accessing an emotion or why you're not. And just sort of consider where these, again, all, as we say, 3D emotions come from. The emotions that we feel in our reality, like I said, the anger, the tension, or it can be positive feelings too. But why do we feel those things? Just really explore this, get as deep as you want. But that's kind of where the writing prompt is leading this week, is to do this visualization to just really picture a happy space that makes you just feel safe and comfortable and feel good. Consider as you're in this space how you feel, what you're sensing, and if there's any visual details that pop out to you, and then just write this down as you're writing. What comes out from this. And if that doesn't work, if you don't get into a flow, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Some things don't work for all people, and especially if you're not if you haven't done a lot of visualizing and meditating in this way, it can be a challenge. I by no means like this, super, great like meditator, who I just I've never been able to go into like a real trance state, like some people can. Sorry, my insulin pump is deciding to yell at me again tonight. But I just find having like soft music on that has no lyrics, in particular, crystal bowl sounds. If you go onto YouTube, you can literally just look up crystal bowl sounds, and there are channels that have that. That really has helped me when I'm meditating. But if this is not something you've done before or have done a lot, it can be a challenge. And so that's why I want you to have time to be able to do this, to be able to focus, and it might take a couple tries. Like, you don't have to do the meditation tonight and then start writing. If you need to do the meditation a couple times, that's fine. We all have a different process. But yeah, just try that out, see what happens, see where your pens, your keyboards, your braillers, whatever you have, where it takes you. And oh my goodness, again, may think somebody doesn't want this out in the world. Yeah, that's the writing prompt for the week. And again, anybody tuning in, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for your love and your views. And if you are watching this, I ask you to subscribe, to like, share if you don't mind, and we can just start building community. So I am sending for this week. Oh, and by the way, Monday is the new moon for anybody who kind of is into lunar stuff. Or not the new moon. God, guys. Oh my God, my brain. Full moon, which is a great time for contemplating our spirituality and releasing things. So, excuse me. If anybody's interested in that, you could Google some things and just kind of see what are some full moon rituals, things like that. But if anybody's really kind of interested in that, it's something to consider. A Monday evening will be our full moon, and that can be a great time to do some releasing rituals. But yeah, I thank everybody for being here, and I am sending all my love, all my positivity, all my strength. I truly am. And yeah, let's build community, and I hope everybody has a wonderful week. And you are all my beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous people. I love you, and have a wonderful week.